Welcome back to the podcast. I'm SandiWarner with Warner Realty Group, and today we're going to talk about the questions I am getting constantly over the last couple of weeks. The market's in a crazy place. The world's a little bit crazy. Stock market has been pretty volatile. Mortgage rates have been volatile. Rents are going up. And people have some concern. Whenever we have uncertainty in the market, whenever we're not sure what's going to happen next, it can create a little bit of anxiety in us. So let's go over the most common questions that I'm getting from my clients. And if you have any questions that we can answer, let us know. The first question I'm getting a lot, and this first slide is showing you kind of the four I want to cover today. One of them is we have a lot of buyers who have exhaustion. This has been a really challenging market. They're putting offers in, they're putting their best foot forward, and they're losing their offers. We have a world-class client right now who has everything, has excellent credit, has good money down, but the type of loan that she's using, a VA loan, people don't want that because sellers still have all of the power right now. So we hear, I'm going to wait until the prices come down. The next one we get is rising interest rates. Oh my God, what's happening? Another one is now is not a good time to buy a home. And another one that we hear a lot, and this is really more, we're hearing this, we're seeing it a lot on YouTube, we're seeing it on social media, and we're seeing it in the headlines, but not in the stories. And that is the market is going to crash. So let's go through these one at a time. The first one is, I'm going to wait until the prices go down. And that makes a lot of sense. I mean, if it's getting unaffordable for you to purchase, and I think rising mortgage rates are changing the affordability for a lot of buyers. But what's actually going to cause prices to go down? If we think about this slide that says what drives prices, we have to remember the price is set by the market. And what is market value? Market value is the price a willing and able buyer. That means the buyer actually has the cash or has been pre-approved, that a willing and able buyer is willing to pay and a seller is willing to accept. That is a market force. So you could have a seller that says, oh, my house is only worth $300,000 and that's what it's worth to them. But they put it on the market for $300,000 and four buyers come to the table and say, oh my gosh, this is a great property. This is worth it. You know, I've lost out on a bunch of properties. And all four of those buyers start competing and that price goes up to $320, $330, $340, $350. Whatever that house sells for, that's market value. So the lack of inventory and an increase in demand makes buyers compete for properties so that buyers start offering over list price, they're waiving financing, they're waiving appraisals, they're waiving contingencies, they're waiving inspections. Buyers are doing this because they want the house and they're making offers they think will help them get the house. And right now there's really multiple buyers for every property. So what's going to bring pricing down? When the supply of housing in a particular area meets or outpaces demand, we'll see prices start to drop. That means when the number of listings satisfies current demand, or when there are more listings in a market than there are buyers in that market. In other words, if every house that comes on the market has only one or maybe less than one buyer interested in that house, that means the seller has to compete for the buyer's attention. If there are fewer buyers, and we'll talk about what could cause that, rising interest rates can cause that, then we'll see prices come down. The market's not doing that right now. Right now, we are still seeing less inventory than there are buyers. And if there are more buyers for each property than there are houses, we already know, we already looked at, that's just going to keep driving the prices up because the buyers are going to compete with each other. What are some indicators that the inventory is starting to outpace the buyers? Well, my thoughts on that are one thing that I look for is the days on market dropping down. In other words, how long does it take for each property to sell? Does the number of offers start dropping? We're in a position right now where a lot of nice properties, if it's a single family home, is getting more than one offer as a matter of routine. Many are getting 3, 4, and 5 offers. It is not every single property that comes on the market, but it's most. So we're not really seeing that happen yet, at least when it comes to single family homes. Speaking of single family, if you're an investor, when we're talking multifamily homes, anywhere in the state right now, if you're not an investor, we list and sell multifamily homes based on what's called a cap value or a cap rate. And that is how much does the home cost you in relationship to how much it earns you. And most investors, or, back in the day, we used to do an 8% or a 9% or even a 10% cap rate. Well, in Rhode Island right now, multifamilies are at such a premium that most investors are listing them at 5 and 6% cap rates. When we see those go back up to about 8% and those properties don't get snapped up at the 8%, I would say that's a good indicator. Well, what's happening in Rhode Island right now? Let's look at the prices. Here's some markets that we service at Warner Realty Group. Not all of them, but some that we work in a lot. Newport obviously is a big market for us. Median price in April was $853. That showed a decrease in the median price of 2%. It also showed the days on market went down 54%. Now, in my opinion, the reason we're seeing that in Newport is because we have a little bit of a crazy market in that we have the multi-million-dollar properties, and those can stay on the market for a long time and then sell. So that is probably impacting that number. But let's go to the bottom of the list and look at East Providence. Now, East Providence, particularly Riverside and Washington Heights, in my experience, are getting a lot of activity right now. So we're seeing a median price as of April 30th in East Providence, the whole area. Washington Heights is in Providence. But East Providence, the Riverside area, particularly, is seeing a median price as of April 30th of $336,000, which is up 14% since this time last year, and their days on market dropped down to 9%. So we're not seeing that change there. Warwick is another hot market right now. The median price went to $325 in April of 2022, which was a 12% increase over April 2021, and the days on market went down 38%. So interesting statistics. We are seeing some shifts around the state, but nothing really to show a trend yet. But does it mean that prices are going to come down? Let's see. Right now, they're still going up. So rising interest rates is another thing that has people really on the edge right now. And that makes a lot of sense because your interest rate impacts the affordability of a home for you. Now, the chart you can see here on the left, if you're looking at the slide that says rising interest rates, Freddie Mac tracks mortgage rates. And you can see that over the course of a year, on the left of your screen there, you can see that interest rates rose substantially from May 31st of 2021 through May 16th of this year. I updated the chart there on the right. You can see we kind of leveled off. The reason for this, or most of the people who are watching this are saying, we saw a big increase in interest rates at the first half of the year because most people and the Fed themselves were predicting that they were going to raise interest rates. So we saw kind of a reactionary rise in mortgage interest rates in anticipation of the Fed's rise in interbank loan rates. That the Fed did exactly what they said they were going to do. The markets kind of came right back down just a nudge to about 5.1% right now. This is a quote from Sam Cater he's the chief economist at Freddie Mac. And he says that economic uncertainty is causing mortgage rate volatility. As a result, purchase demand is waning and home builder sentiment has dropped to the lowest level in 2 years. Builders are also dealing with rising costs, meaning this posture is likely to continue. Now, we know, because we just talked about this, that yes, purchase demand is going to go down. We saw mortgage rates go up. But what happens if builders stop building? Does that mean an increase in inventory? No. So while we're seeing a decrease in the number of new home purchase or, new purchase mortgage originations, we're also seeing a decrease in new inventory, which means that the number of buyers goes down, but there's no new inventory to spread around the existing buyers. And don't forget, and I don't think I have a slide here that shows that, Realtor.com is reporting that over 30% of all new home purchases, not just new resale home, are cash. So there's a substantial part of the market that's not going to be impacted by rising interest rates. So then we hear the naysayers out in the market that are, we got our hands crossed and this is not a good time to buy a home. Maybe that might be right for you, but that decision has to be based on what you need. What are your goals? If you're out there and you're looking to purchase a home at a good deal and flip it and make a killing off it, this is not the time. And this hasn't been the time for at least 2 years and maybe 3 years. And the reason for that is, of course, we're not seeing the homes coming out into the distressed home market. And plus, couple that with the fact that the cost of building materials is so high. This just isn't the market for that. And if you've called us about those properties, we've counseled you in that way. But if you're a first-time home buyer and you've been pre-approved at a rate that makes it affordable for you, if you've been pre-approved at these mortgage rates and you've been approved for a loan and that loan is comfortable for you, yes, this is a good time to buy. If you're moving, you have nowhere to live, yes, this is a good time to buy. If you don't want to pay the outrageous rents that are being charged right now, and I'm big in the rental market, and I'm so grateful that I'm not being challenged by that right now, buy a house. If you want reassurance, I got 2 calls today, 2 in one day, from people who just learned that their apartments or their rented homes are being sold. If you want security, if you want a hedge against inflation, if you want some certainty in your life, buy a home. The rates are still lower than they have been traditionally over time, and the market is still very, very strong. So if you have any questions, drop us a note down here. Don't forget to hit that bell so you get a notification when we put a new video out there. Hit the subscribe button for us if you like the content and give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Go ahead at any time, drop us a line, ask us your questions. Maybe we'll do a video on your questions and we'll try to get some more experts on here and share great advice for you. I'm Sandi Warner with Warner Realty Group, making the complex simple.